All right, this is hardcore, Henry. We're gonna be hardcore.
Hardcore, no lube.
Hopefully that wasn't too much. Hopefully I didn't, hurt your ears on that if you wear headphones. So, hi, welcome to NK Reviews on Unscripted. This is Tyler from NK Reviews.
And Steven from Steven Lawson Studios.
And today we have Hardcore Henry. Now, this is a movie that is getting, some attention because of the fact that it's mostly shot in a first-person perspective. It's pretty much shot on pretty much one of the to-go cams, which we see on the internet from time to time. Usually someone's riding a bike or surfing a wave. But in this one, it's pretty much the entire movie through one character's perspective. The movie is about a main character who we won't reveal who it is, because that's kind of a spoiler in itself.
Hint, his name's Henry.
And pretty much he's this person who's apparently gotten this accident, and his girlfriend, who's a scientist who happens to try to put him back together. Her name is Estelle. I'm not the best with names, sorry about that. Played by Haley Burnett, who's pretty much the discount Jennifer Lawrence. But, I'd take any kind of Jennifer Lawrence any kind of day. But anyway, these evil guys break in, and so it's up to, Henry to kind of save his girl. In addition, he's helped by a guy named Jimmy, played by Charlotte Copley. Mm-hmm. And it's pretty much an adventure. It's kind of like if you played a first-person shooter game, you'll get an idea of what this movie is like just by sitting down and watching it.
And I would really say, as I'm sure many other people would as well, that it basically was the closest thing to a full-on video game experience movie ever. It was kind of funny how certain situations, basically randomly running into things, and how the character Jimmy kept showing up was almost as if, in a video game, you get to a certain point and then, a computer comes in and says, hey, you need to have this item, or hey, you need to go over here. And I mean, that was very present in a very video game-like sense, as well as the, rapid, violent movement constantly, as it would be if you personally were moving around just fanatically, trying to defend yourself and what have you.
Yeah.
I will say it probably beats Man of Steel in terms of the video game like NPC quality. I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I think that how in Man of Steel they have Superman's dad from Krypton as a computer basically telling him, this is how you defeat the bad guys. Mm-hmm. Don't figure it out yourself.
And then a bunch of fanboys are going to be like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Right. But I thought that was very, ripped straight off of a video game subplot and placed it in a movie. But this one is definitely more in your face about it. And it had fun with it. So.
Yeah, this was some kind of video game movie, I'd say. This is hands down the best one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I would agree.
Yeah, even though it's not based off any kind of video game, I think, how video game movies aren't really around anymore? Well, not just a movie based off a video game. I'm talking about a video game that kind of ties into a movie. You don't see that too often because it's kind of a dead market now, but if they're going to bring that back, I would love to see a Hardcore Henry video game.
Yeah, that would be cool. Another thing, though, that I actually learned recently and hadn't known was that this movie, Hardcore Henry, was actually a idea that was given a big budget because of a short film on YouTube. I think it was called Bad Mother Effer or something.
Oh, yeah.
Like that.
Yeah, I remember that.
And it was basically, that idea blown up into a multi-million-dollar budget movie.
Yeah.
So it was quite an interesting concept.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think one of the best actors, I think the one character that kind of steals the show is Shardo Copley's character Jimmy. He just, randomly keeps popping up, and eventually they explain that later, but I just say go watch the movie itself to, figure out why that happens. But I would say that he was really entertained. In fact, in an interview, he said this movie was pretty much the hardest role he's ever done.
I could see where at several points, once you realize why he's there, how that could be quite challenging, But I still see him. It'll be tough for me to decide whether I see him as the guy from District 9 or the guy who helps Hardcore Henry.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably one of the better films he's done. I mean, it's better than Elysium, even though he's probably one of the better parts of that movie. Yeah. And Maleficent, I know some people like that movie, but...
He was in Maleficent?
Yeah, he was the king guy.
Oh, well, that was forgettable.
And a letdown. I think one really odd roster in the cast that gets a lot of attention, but he's barely in the movie, maybe for a minute or less, is Tim Roth. He plays Henry's dad in a flashback.
A.K.A. Abomination.
And General Thade from the Planet of the Apes movie by Tim Burton.
Mm-hmm.
They could have gotten any other actor to play that character, but I guess he wasn't really doing anything, because I don't know the last movie or show he was in, so I guess he was like, all right, I'm free.
I recall he was in Lie to Me or something.
Yeah, he was the star of that.
The time of The Incredible Hulk, and after that I haven't heard a lot.
Yeah, what happened? Are they gonna bring him back? Are they gonna mention him?
I don't know.
One of the main problems with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah. No, that's a sin, Tyler. You better watch out before they come shoot us, conspiracy.
They'll just give a bunch of unrealistic negative reviews on the next DC movie, but...
Right.
Anyway, back to Hardcore Henry. We're not trying to get into, review those other comic book movies. Right now we're just trying to review Hardcore Henry.
Yes.
Now, yeah, I mean, the movie itself was pretty entertaining. I mean, there are scenes where we went, oh, it's just really, really graphic.
Very gory. That is absolutely true. It is definitely not for the squeamish in terms of blood, organs flying, and seeing people be killed, sliced, blown up, etc.
Yeah, no, I mean, this isn't something you would show to your kid if they're used to watching Sesame Street.
Maybe Avenue Q, but not Sesame Street.
But I would say that the movie itself, there are some scenes that are like, oh, that's pretty cool how they have these different ideas. And I kind of got flashbacks to The Raid, where how The Raid was the first Raid movie, how it was kind of like, what if one of us back in high school had an abandoned building to ourselves and we shot a movie there?
Yep.
Well, this is kind of an example of what if we had a movie where we had to-go program and had a big budget and did a movie like this. And I got kind of thinking back to my younger self, which isn't that long ago, and...
About 20 minutes ago.
And yeah, I would say that, yeah, it's kind of like a movie I would make back when I was a teenager.
Yeah, it was very fun like that. And to be honest, when I first saw this in theaters, I just saw it in theaters, but when I saw the preview for it in theaters, it was interesting because I had been thinking about, around the time that Cloverfield came out, about it would be really interesting if they could tell a whole story involving, a camera being inside of a person so that literally their vision is the entire movie. And I thought about, trying to write something about that, but ultimately just kind of left it. And sure enough, someone else had the same idea and turned it into this. And I thought that was really cool to see, Hey, there's innovation out there, people thinking similar things. So that was cool.
I think kind of related to what you said about Cloverfield, I think what may turn some people off about this movie is that there's a lot of jerky motion, and a lot more than Cloverfield. And of course, people who get motion sickness easily, this is pretty much, if you thought Cloverfield had a lot of motion sickness, then you're gonna pretty much throw up all your insides if you watch this movie.
Yes, I honestly, that is one of the few things I would say going in. And I'm a person that can take a lot of twists and turns, but
Mm-hmm.
even I think felt a little something in my stomach. It wasn't overwhelming, but at a certain point, my stomach was kind of like, okay, we've had enough of all the constant violent movement. Um, and I would say it's the most shaky cam movie I probably have ever seen. Even on par with Battle Los Angeles, where the gaffers all had Parkinson's or something, because
It's been a while since I've seen that.
yeah, you ought to watch that again. People who haven't, just for how incredibly shaky all the camera angles are. It's
Well, it's not as shaky as like the first Hunger Games movie.
I don't recall that, and I
Good.
actually think I would challenge that. People who are listening to this,
Yeah, but
Definitely.
but a lot of the shaky cam in Hunger Games was completely unnecessary. There were scenes where they're showing just people sitting around or standing, and the camera's just moving around. It's like, did they film this during an earthquake? What's going on?
that's what happened in Battle Los Angeles, though, too.
Well, I can understand that because there were action scenes, and I can understand maybe they're trying to get to the people's point of view.
I don't think so. It wasn't filmed in that type of way, and there were steady shots like that, and the camera was still shaking, and I think it's an issue of we had bad people handling the camera that day, cinematographers, or also quite possibly, you know what, we don't have the budget right now, so let's just make this a really shaky scene so people don't realize.
We're too lazy to set up a tripod and dolly.
Right. Or put in like really good CG throughout, so we'll just put ridiculously shaky cam to cover that and hope people don't notice.
Yeah, that it pretty much explains all the found footage movies we have now,
Mhm.
which a lot of them aren't that good now.
Agreed.